query parameter. So what is query parameter? So with query parameter, we can make our reports more dynamic. In the sense, we can change the query, we can change the query filtering criterion dynamically. Okay. What I am going to do is I just open the Power BI desktop. Yeah, this is the one. I just close this. Let's see. The idea of this one, right? The idea of using the query parameters, creating and using the query parameters, we can enable the end users to reuse the report developed by desktop users. Okay, and for example, you have developed a report and you wanted to share the report to your stakeholders within your organization. For example, you are a developer, you developed a report and you wanted to share it with your marketing manager. He doesn't know Power BI, okay, how to create report, all the things. Okay, you know only basic stuff, but he is not familiar with creating advanced level of reporting. Okay, so you are a report developer, you developed it, you want to share it with your managers within your organization. So it will enable the managers or internal stakeholders to reuse the report developed by you. Okay, so they can view, for example, the marketing manager can view only the data that is relevant to him. Okay, so that is also another advantage of creating the query parameter. We have data available. So we have a huge volume of data are there in our organization. You just think that way. If you allow each and every users, let's say in your company, let's say e-commerce company, right? So they have retail store. They have close to 1,500 plus retail chains spanning across the globe. So in this case, what happens if you allow the users to access the entire data, what will happen? Across the globe, you have the retail chain is there, right? You have the retail chains are there across the globe. And if you allow each and every user to access the entire data, what will happen? It will slow down the system, right? The system will get stalled because each and every user, when they try to access the entire data, your data volume is, let's say, hypothetically 0.5 petabyte volume of data is there. So each and every user is allowed to access the entire data. What will happen? In that case, right, it will consume too much of resources, memory, CPU, too much of IOs can happen. And also security, right? So you don't want the other users to view, for example, in your bank account. If you allow me to access your bank account, what will happen? Gone, right? Similarly, in the case of security, to prevent the users to access only the data which they are intent to see, we can, and also from the performance point of view. Okay, and if they intend to see, for example, you are a North region manager, if I allow you to view only the North region related data, it will be you are going to select only the subset of the data, not the entire data. Since you are selecting the subset of the data, performance will be faster. The report performance will be faster. You can see the data populated in your visual in a much faster manner. See here, look here, I just clicked on this page, last N month sales. It loads the data here, right? So you have the visuals here. I have the visuals here. To load the data into the visual, it takes time. Even with less number of data, less number of records, it takes this much of time. The real-time scenario, we are dealing with huge volume of data. So in that case, what will happen is it will literally slow down your report performance. You will be keep sitting, waiting for 2 hours, 3 hours for this visual to populate. Ultimately, right, if it doesn't populate anything, let's say you waited for 8 hours and then nothing is showing, then it is not good, right? So performance issues, I don't want to access the entire data. I want my users to access only the data which they intend to see. That kind of situation, query parameter is good. And from the performance point of view, security point of view, it is, this is one of the requirements, non-functional requirements. This is called non-functional requirements. And also the parameters, to be modified only by the model authors. Look here, this is my model, data model. All the tables that are required to build my report, I just imported everything. I created the relationship, everything. So here what we are doing is what are the parameters that needs to be modified, right? That is to be done only by the model author. Author in the sense, so I am the owner of this report. I developed this report. I did data model, everything, right? So here the parameters, if we want to make any change to the parameter, only I should be allowed to do that one. If you allow everyone to make a change to the parameter, again, it is same thing. You are allowing the users to view every data. Apart from these use cases, it simplify the process of release management. What is release management? For example, you are part of the development team. You have developed your reports, dashboards, everything, and you wanted to let's you published on cloud and they tested it, everything is okay, but there are some errors, bugs are there in your report. They tell no, this logic is not correct. You fix it. You fixed everything. You did unit coding and unit testing in your workspace. Workspace in the sense, what is the workspace in the cloud? Power BI service, right? We create workspace, which is nothing but the folders. That is for development purpose. Or, let's say you developed your report and you tested it, unit tested it. And then during the time of unit testing, you found some errors, you fixed it. Okay, now your code is bug free. Let's assume that way. Okay. And now next step, what will happen is, you will be informing it to your manager. So he will, what he will do is he will inform to the release management team or the QA team. There is something called QA, quality assurance. So what they do is they will migrate your code from the development folder to their QA folder. But in the development folder, you have used your reports were pointing to some data set. Look here, I just selected the transform data ribbon. Here you can see the data source settings. If you want to see the data file name, the files that I used in this report, if you click on this, you can see the file name along with the path. Dat one, in this folder, append one is there. In this folder, append two is there. Right? So, okay, fine. So now what happens? I did my coding and unit testing. The report is, what are the bugs were there? I fixed it. Bugs in the sense error. Okay. You fixed it. So now you say, hey, QA team, I'm ready. So you can move. So I finished my job. It is your job. You pick up from my development folder. They, move all the files, including the data files, from your, not the data files. Okay. They move your report file into their QA folder. But in the QA folder, they will use their own data. The testing data is different. Okay. So in that case, what will happen is but the file name may be same. File name is same, but the data is different. Okay. So, but they use their own data. So they wanted to see with their data, does this report is working fine or not? Does it throws in error? Does it performs as expected as per the specifications? So in that case, what will happen is your report will get migrated from your folder to their folder, QA folder. But in the QA folder, they have some creators, the subfolder. So they dat one underscore so QA underscore append one dot XLS is there. Okay. So in that case, you need to change the folder name here in order for this report to pick up the QA data. So for that, you select this file, manually go and select change source. And then here you need to specify the path. For example, here I have something like QA folder is there for their testing purpose. Okay. And they have the file. I need to click on OK here. Here manually, instead of going and typing, there is an option here. Look here, if you click on here, you will have some new parameter. So with this, you can create a parameter. That parameter name, if you specify here, instead of giving the file name, path name, everything, give some QA folder name, some name, parameter name. That's it. Click on OK. So what will happen is when the QA team, when they, as soon as they migrated your code to their folder, QA folder, what they do is they will click on this one, and then they will just check data source settings. Here, it will ask them, it will prompt them to enter the folder name and file name. So not here, and edit parameters. When they go here, look here, it will ask them. So can you tell me the path name and file name? Can you tell the path name and file name? So if they specify their path name, like a d:\dat1 /QA/ the file name, it will go and pick up from there. Right? So all you need to just create a report, create the parameter, and share it to the QA team. The QA team, what it is, when they open the report, will ask them to enter the files, that needs to be used for the testing purpose. The file name and the corresponding path name, it will prompt them. I will show you how it works. Okay, and see, there are 2 or 3 use cases. One is you can dynamically change the queries filtering criteria. Number 2 is you can simplify the process of release management by prompting the users, by prompting the release management users to enter the folder name and path name. Whatever the folder and path name that they specified there, the report file will go and point to that specific data set. Okay. So here they don't have to come here, they don't have to go here, and they don't have to change it here manually. But as a report developer, let's say I'm the report developer, one time I have to do it here. I just go here, instead of file name, I just go and click on new parameter. That's all. Let me see how any parameters are there. Yeah, let me use this one, parameter 4. Yeah, current values, d:\dat1 sales W4. Current value is this one, and what I'm going, I just or else file path. Just give some meaningful name. That's all. This is not a reserved word. And then I click on OK here. Look here, and then I click on OK here. That's all. Okay, now it is fine. Now I just close it. And if I go here and edit parameters, look here, file path. It prompt the users. It'll, in this case, in this scenario, when the QA team open this report, it will ask them to enter, their file path name. Let's say this same file is available under QA folder. File name is same, but the data is different. Because for testing team, they use their own data set to test the functionality of your report. That's all. Forget about these 3. Okay, I'm going to remove those 3 parameters. That is related to different thing. Okay, you need to look at this one only, file path. Okay. What I will do is I will show you everything step by step. Don't worry. Apart from these 2 things, we have something else like if you wanted to replace the values in any specific column dynamically, that is also possible. d:\dat sales underscore when the call d:\dat1. Okay. Here everything is okay, but only thing is in the parameter I need to change it. Okay, I will keep it as it is. Okay. I just save it. Okay, now I go to the transform data, Power Query Editor. There are 3 different types of parameters are available. One is any, and the other one is list of values and query. Okay, how do I create these parameters, any or list of values query? The first step is create the parameter. And then the next step is whatever the parameter that you created it, right? That parameter in name you need to specify in the column where you want to do filtering. For example, in this case, in the country column, I wanted to use this parameter. Once you define the parameter, what will happen is when you share the report to your manager, when he opens the report, it will ask him the parameter. What it does is it will ask him to enter the country name. When he enter United States, that one will get copied here. So here, look here, the country equals United States. In the parameter, the United States, you typed it, right? That value will be there. So the country equals United States, you show it here, filter only the data. Okay, so that is possible, with the any. The any is, the any parameters, the users can enter any value once you define the parameter. And next one is we have something list of values. List of values is really good. You are allowing the user or restricting the users to enter, to select only the listed values. You can select either United States or India or United Kingdom. Apart from these three countries, you cannot select it. First of all, it will not list. But the disadvantage of any is the users can enter any country and it will show whatever the country that he typed it, right? It is going to filter it there. This is kind of, right, the senior manager, like CEO level, top level. They wanted to see, they are supposed to be given freedom to any type of country sales performance at any given point in time. That kind of situation, we can use any. List of values, something like managers and mid-level managers. Even the region specifically, their location specifically, the managers. So, they wanted to see only the North region related sales, right? So it will show North region, or for example, VP is handling North and East regions. Two regions is the one accountable. In this case, in the list, you specify North and East region name only. Don't give anything else. Only when you give him the any parameter, what will happen is he can view any location or any country. But when you give list of values, you are completely restricting to view only the values, whatever you specified there. And apart from this query, the query is also similar to any, but in this case, we are creating something like a lookup. Instead of typing the country name, United States, here it will display something like the drop-down list, wherein they can select the country. Okay. I will start with any parameter. You just watch here what I'm doing here. So here what you do is in the queries, just beneath the queries, the empty space, right click on it and then new query. New parameter. We are talking about parameter. Query parameter, I'll explain you later. Okay. So this is the one. Okay, here already I have this one. Okay, I will just remove this one. This is related to the folder connector. You remember when I created the folder connector, behind the scene, it was creating this kind of, files. First, you need to delete the transform file and then you need to delete the, otherwise it will not allow you to delete these files. This parameter is not required. Basically, you ignore this one probably. Okay. Yeah, transform file, I have used it. Okay, here also something is there. This will cause unnecessary confusion. Ideally, I should have cleaned, but anyhow, it is good now. Now itself will delete it. NCD daily sales. Let me just remove that file itself. Okay, other queries. NCD daily sales is not required for this demo. I'm going to delete this because that parameter has been used in this one. See, now it is allowing me to delete this one. Delete the group. Fine. So we have one more thing. I just remove this one. So cool. So now we are able to delete all the unnecessary thing. Okay, the next one is, let me just queries metadata. Oh, since I deleted that one, that is gone. So anyhow, this is not required. This is one painful process. If you want to delete more than one, it is not allowed here. Since I deleted the group, I'm not able to. Okay, let me do one thing. I can see if I can collapse it here. But if I do this, it is getting collapsed everything. It is not going down. Since I deleted the group now, that is the problem. Okay, 1 second. Parameters. So we have an option to create the parameter here. 1 second, I'm just checking here. This one, I don't remember it. Manage parameters. New parameter. You just click on it here. This is another way of creating the parameter. Okay, so in the home ribbon, manage parameters, you can create the parameter here. Here, what I do is I just, for the sake of any country parameter, okay, or I say I enter specify country. So this is my parameter name. Step 1. First step is define the create the parameter. So the parameter name is country param. The type of the parameter is any. As I sorry, this is a data type. Okay, the data type is text because I'm going to use this parameter with country column. Okay, and the data ends. The country is a text data type and suggested values. Look here, there are 3 types of parameter: any value, list of values, any value, list of values, query. Okay, here I'm going to start with the any value. Okay, and then the current values, for example, I just say United States. Okay, don't ask me, so you said country parameter, and but you mentioned about country param. How will the Power BI, Power Query editor will get to know this is related to country? Okay, so that is the one I'll explain in step 2. First step is create the parameter. You can give whatever the name that you wanted, but give some meaningful name and the data type, and then type of the query parameter. Is that any value or list of value? Here I have started with any value. You can give some the default value as United States. What are the values that are there in the column, right? You can specify it. I just click on OK. So my step 1 is over. Okay, and my parameter got created. Country param United States. Can you see it here at the bottom? This one got created here. Okay. And let's say if I wanted to make changes to this parameter, let's say I created, if you think, right, you gave some wrong naming convention or you made some mistake here, by clicking manage parameter, it will open the same thing again. So now you go and, so make some changes. Here you can say country parameter. Okay, you can modify it. Once you create the parameter, you can modify it by clicking on the manage parameter. That's all, okay? And now I created the parameter. I have to use it, isn't it? If I don't use it, then what is the necessity of creating the parameter? So where I use it, I just go to the sales W04, sales W0. In this data set, I'm going to use the parameter. How I use that parameter? So here I'm going to use that parameter in the country column. This is my country column. So what I do is I click on the drop down thing here, text filters, and I select equals. Here I'm going to use that any parameter which I created it. Look here, this is the country parameter. Country is a, sorry, not a parameter, it's a column name. In this, look here, this is what I selected, right? The country column, I selected it. And then I clicked on the drop down and then I selected equals, okay? And here we have two of them, basic, advanced. There the country is equals. You can type some value here or you can select some existing country column name. Look here, by default, when you select this one, you can enter some country name. For example, I can select United States, but this is not the right way of doing it. If I select this one here, this will become static. Whenever you when you click on OK and you share the report with any user, it will show only the United States related data. Whenever you share this report to, let's say, 200 different managers in your company, it should allow them to enter any country name when they open the report. But if you specify the country name here, and if you save it, I mean, if you share it with 200 managers, what will happen? It will show only United States for all the managers. Listen very carefully. If you don't listen carefully and if you later say you don't understand, I'm not responsible, okay? And here, right? So what I do is I want to make it dynamic. For that purpose, I created parameter. So what I do is we have another option here. Click on it here. This is a parameter here. Right? So, and you look here, this is the parameter I created it here already, right? So country parameter. The country parameter. So if you click on down arrow, look here. If you select, this is the default one will show all the, it will list all the countries that are available in your country column. I don't want to select any specific country name here because it will become static. I want to make it dynamic. For that purpose, I already created the parameter. Hence, I'm going to reuse that parameter. For that, first I need to select either text or parameter. Now I want to select the parameter. You click on the drop down. Since we have only one parameter created, it picked up automatically. But in this country parameter, I specified the current value as United States. Okay, let it be there. But here I'm using the parameter. Since the idea of using the parameter is, if I save this and share it to any person, when they open the report, it will ask them to enter the country name, which they wanted to view it. Look here, I click on OK. Look here, since I've used the current values United States, it shows only United States. I'll ask questions. Please concentrate here. See, this is the parameter. First step, step one, I created the parameter. The parameter type is any, and the data type is text, and the parameter country parameter, and the current value I mentioned United States. It can be anything, okay? You can specify whatever name that you want. India, you can specify it. But what will happen is, since I have mapped this parameter with the country name, the current value of this parameter is, since this one is current United States, it filtered the values United States. Okay, fine. Step one, I create the parameter. I mapped the parameter with my country column. Next step is I just close and apply it. Now we need to test Okay, my report is ready. I will share it to Maunika. Okay, Maunika is my manager. You just think that way. Okay. Let's assume that she doesn't know programming or creating report. She doesn't know. So now I just create. Let's say I am the report developer. Now I share it to Maunika. She is my manager. So now what happens is, so now we need to test it here. So I need to click on edit parameters this time. Which one? Jivanandam, edit parameters. Click on the edit parameters. So when I share this report to Maunika, when she opens this report, it will automatically prompt for this. It will ask her to enter the country name. Listen, if she says India and click on OK, only the India related data will get filtered. Now 25,000 records are there in this data set, but only 954 records got selected. Since I specified country name is India, I just go here and create some visual for you to understand it. So who is ready to answer my question? Look here in India country. Can you see it? I just increase the font size here. The default size, right? Font size, they can give it reasonably bigger one. Okay, so this is India got selected now. Or else we can use the column chart or something. Look here, it shows only sales in India, 5,35,000. So now, let's say, now what happens? This report, I shared it to 25 managers. Now, let us say another manager is, who is a Deepak. So what happens, Deepak, when he opens this report, it will ask him to enter the country name. So he'll listen, he says United Kingdom. And then he clicks OK. Because he is the manager for United Kingdom, you just think that way. So here India, it shows. Now what will happen is, since we have typed United Kingdom for that country parameter, it will go and select only the United Kingdom related data. See, United Kingdom related data. See, in simple, we create some variable and all, right, in other programming languages. What I will do is I will just show you with this example. Let's say you say, let's say you define something like country is equivalent to, let's say you have something like ampersand CTRY. Right, in SQL query, you do something ampersand CTRY. So what will happen is when they execute the query, it will ask them to enter the country name here. Whatever the country name that you enter it will go and filter in the country column. This is here what I did. On the right side, I just specified the parameter here. Similarly, instead of this, if I specify country is equal to India, what will happen? This is if I share this report, all the users can see only the India related report. This is not dynamic, static, whereas when you use the parameter static, that is what the same thing we did it here. Look here, what value is showing here? United Kingdom, right? I selected it. This is what any, but the any here is when you save the report and share it with multiple users, they will be in a position to view. They will be in a position to type any country name. Is there any way I can restrict them to select the country name, whatever I specify? That is where we have something called list of value parameter comes into picture. Second type of parameter. What I do is I just go back here, go to the query parameter, click on the, transform data, Power Query Editor. I go to the Power Query Editor. Here, look here, this is the one I created, isn't it? This is the parameter. What I do is instead of creating one more parameter, I'm going to modify this parameter. How do I select the parameter name? Click on Manage Parameter. Here, let it be the country parameter, data type text. Instead of any value, I just select list of values. In this case, here I just do kind of hard coding here. India and United States, Germany. Only this country. Here I say so in this case, United States, Germany will not come. Asia Pacific, right? It will not come here. They say China and what is it? Sri Lanka, right? Sri Lanka or Singapore. Singapore. So these three countries are falling under Asia Pacific region. Okay. I create a parameter with the name of APAC. But in this, we have some APAC manager. You should be able to see only these three countries. Okay. So I can, right? So you can see, I just click on OK here, but it will not work. Again, we need to specify the default value. Then let's say the default values India and the current values. Again, you can specify whatever the value that you wanted out of these three. Okay. Default value India and current value India. So why default value is India? Why current value? You can choose whatever you wanted. But with the list of values parameter, we are going to restrict the users to view only the country name which they wanted to see it. Okay, here, what is the type of parameter? This is list of values parameter. I created the parameter, I have to use it. Otherwise, it is useless. So what I am going to do is I just go to the sales W04 table here. I just go to the country column. In this country column, look here, already I have used the any parameter, still, right? Whatever the country that I typed, still it is there. First, what I do is I clear the filter. So if you click on it here, it will display all the country name. You remember, before list of values, I used any parameter, Jivanandam. Okay. So now what I do is still that filtered values are there. I need to make sure that I clear this one. Afterwards, text filters equals. Now I'm going to use this modified parameter. So here the country equals, and here, what am I going to do now? Instead of selecting the country name here manually, I just select, we have two options here, and another option, you can create a parameter here also, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select the parameter, APAC region. This is the parameter I already created, wasn't it? So that one got displayed. And if I click on OK, what will happen? So this parameter has three values in it. India, Singapore, and what else? Another country, right? China. Okay. So what will happen is, let's say when I share the report to you, when you open it, it will show only those three countries. For example, if you select China, that value will get copied here. The country equals China will get filtered. When you select India, the India value will get copied here. Country equals India will get selected. Are you able to understand or not? If you are concentrating here, you will be able to look here, the India got filtered. So that's the reason why I request all of you, please join the online session. Don't miss out at any cost. So that you don't have to watch my video. Click on close and apply. I just test it here. Let's say in this case, I am the report developer. I need to test whether the parameter APAC region is working fine or not. For that purpose, I click on this one. For that purpose, 1 second, I just click on I select it here. Edit parameters. Look here, the list of values it is showing it. If I click on the drop down here, you can see only these 3 countries. As a APAC Asia Pacific region manager, I am allowed to select any one of the country. Right? At a time, I can select only one country. For example, if I click on China and click on OK here, in this report, only the China related data will get filtered and it will show here. What is the India sales? India sales, we found something like 5 lakh something, right? 934 records for India. And China, how much? 1,195 rows. So it will be more than India's sales value. Look here, China got filtered. So if I hover the cursor here, 6,50,000. This is how using the parameter at the Power Query editor itself, we can restrict the users to select or view only the data which they are intent to see it. Okay, edit parameters, that's all. So the next one is the query parameter. I just go to the Power Query editor. You can create parameter in the Power Query editor only. But if you scroll down and at the bottom, if you right click on it, you can see, but I'm not able to collapse this one. Hence, I'm going to use this option. And then what I do is, okay, the existing parameter itself, I can use it. I selected the parameter. This is my list of value parameter. What I do is I click on manage parameter. Instead of creating multiple parameter, I just reuse the same parameter. So here what I do is I create a generic name, country query or country lookup, LKUP. LKUP stands for lookup. Now we try the third type of the parameter called your query parameter. So in this case, and ideally I should have created a query and then only I should have come here. But here I don't see any query here. What I do is I just click on cancel. First step when it comes to query parameter is first create a query. So how do I create a query? For example, in this table, sales W04. Okay, this time I will use, okay, first let me clear the filter. Okay, China is there, right? I just select this one, clear filter. Make sure that you are clearing the filter before testing the different types. See, before you try testing the query parameter, right, of the parameters, make sure that you are clearing the filter. After testing it, make sure that you are clearing this one. So many people, what they do, they test it everything and they don't clear the filter here. So what will happen is it will show the wrong data. Okay. Okay. So what first step in the case of query parameters, you need to create a query. How do I create a query? Right click on it, add as new query, lookup table. This I call it as a lookup table. Whatever the values we saw it in the country column, it shows here, but it is a list type. Yeah, okay, it's kind of a list. I call this a lookup. It's my own language. Okay, I right click on it, remove duplicates. See, Australia, United States appears more than one time because I want to use the lookup to have each country name to be displayed only one time. If I share the report to you, you should be able to see only these countries. Whichever country that you wanted to see it, you select it. That's all. With the help of the lookup table, you can select it. You can just point it, click it. You don't have to type the country name. That is the advantage. Look here. So here, yes, this is the query. Query name is country. Right click on it. I rename it country lookup. I gave the name, right? I don't know why it is not. country lookup. First step is create the query like this. I have to use this query, isn't it? The second step is here, it is little bit different. In this case, what you need to do is you just, I'm going to use the same thing here. This parameter name is country lookup. I just give this way. The data type is text only. Third one is query parameter. Query, the type of parameter is query this time. Look here, I already created a query, right? What is the query name? Country lookup. This is the one. If you click on this drop down, you'll find that one. Maybe I would have created some other query. You need to select this query here. Here, these are the table queries, right? And this is for my, where is that lookup? Country lookup. Yeah, this is the one. Select it. This country lookup, each and every, all the country name you can see it, but you don't have any duplicate because you remove the duplicate name. That's all. This is the current value, China, something like that. China, India. I just say India. Step 1, create a country lookup. Step 2, parameter. Create a parameter. In that parameter, you specify the type of the query parameter as a query parameter. And then you need to select the query which you created it. Step 2 is over. Now I need to use this parameter. See, I created the country lookup query. That query I have to use it. That query I used it in the parameter, country lookup parameter. Now I need to use this parameter. I'm going to use the sales column. I just go here. Where is the country name? Here, what I do is I just select equals country equals, okay, and parameter country lookup. My parameter name is country lookup. The query name is country LKUP. So what will happen is when I click on OK, and then when I share the report to you, it will display the for country name. When you click on the drop down here, it'll display the all the country name, because in the country lookup parameter I have used the query by the name of country LKUP. The default right name I mentioned about India. It filtered India here. Fine. It's working fine. No error. It has been done. Next one is I just go to this one, close and apply. I don't need this one. We need to test it. Step 1, create the query. Step 2, use that query in a new parameter, and then use that parameter in a country column or a specific column. Now I clicked on close and apply. Country lookup and okay, so look here, the default value is India, get selected. How do I test it? How do I test it? Let me see how many of you watched it here. Avinash, Sumit, Nitesh. Nitesh, you tell me now, how do I test it now? Edit parameter, very good. How about Jivanandam? See, Nitesh was able to tell correctly. Right? You are not concentrating here. Please concentrate. Okay. Click on transform data, edit parameters. Click on edit parameters, country lookup. Look here, whatever the lookup I created, it shows all the things. Here, I don't have to type the country name. Simply go and click on it. For example, Somalia, I selected it. I need not to type it. See, sometimes what will happen is, let's say you are based out of USA and you don't know what all the country names are. For, you know some country, but you don't know, there is a country by the name of Estonia. But somebody says, Estonia, can you check it, sir? So you might tend to type, you may tend to make some typo. If you give like this, India should display what's the Senolita data should display it here instead of India. Look here, Estonia. I selected Estonia, correct? Estonia country is Estonia. Okay, now to summarize, let me see how many of you remember it. So what are the steps involved? What are the steps that need to be carried out in order to create the query parameter? Let me see how many of you are, can tell it. What is the first step? Create query. See guys, if you concentrate for your benefit only, I'm saying, you don't have to watch my video. You can watch my video for reference purpose. You don't have to, watch each and every frame. Yeah, let me see who typed it here. Create, let me see. I just want to check it out because I want to hold it. Create parameter. Very good. Okay, create, no, not create parameter. First step is this one. Let's go step by step. Create query, and second this. Yeah, create parameter. Now create parameter. In this create parameter, so you specify some parameter name, all the things, right? And then you need to select the type of the parameter as query. Okay, and then you need to use the query. Now, let's say in this case, the LKUP, country, LKUP. So here you need to specify the type of parameters query. And then the next option is you need to specify the type of the query. So the name of the query, country, LKUP. What is the third step? So I have created the query. I have used this query in my parameter. And the next, I need to use this parameter. Where should I use? So in this case, I wanted to use it in the country column. In the country column, I selected parameter. And then I have chosen my parameter name was, I have given it as a country lookup. Country full name lookup. Right? So parameter name and country lookup, I selected it. Guys, if your listening skill is very good and if your memory is very good, you should tell fat like this. Okay, if you say like this, as soon as you complete the training program, probably you can take 1 week break and practice it, then you're all set to clear the interview. If you don't concentrate here, you will not be able to you'll not be an interview ready person. Map the parameter with specific column. Very good, right? So here what I did in the country column, the step 3 is map the parameter. So what is the parameter? Country lookup is the parameter. Right? Map this parameter with a specific column. In this case, I have used country. You can use it for region also. You can use it for any categorical type of column. Country is a categorical type. State is a categorical type. City is a categorical type. A region is a categorical type. Columns. Okay. So now you understood, right? It's very simple step. Please remember this. Okay. We have seen 3 type of query parameter. Jivanandam, can you tell me what are the type of parameters so far I discussed? 1 is any, and 2 is what? List of values. What is the third one? Avinash. Any list of value query parameter. We discussed about these 3 steps, these 3 type of parameters. Right, so the list of values we have seen. Okay, these 2 are simple. Only 2 steps are required. Create the parameter. Sorry, not the first step is not required. Create parameter and map the parameter with the specific column. 2 and 3. Okay, only these two steps are applicable for, the parameter any and list of values. Only for the query parameter, you need to use these, the extra step. First, you need to create the query, and then you need to use the query in the parameter, query name. So, and then you need to use the parameter. You need to map this parameter to a specific column, any specific column. In this case, the specific column is a country. Got it? Let me see how many of you answered it. Nitesh, okay, Nitesh, Aditya, very good. Aditya, list of values. Okay, and Maunika also typed it. Any list, 3 people. Right? The same thing should come from all the rest of you. Okay, but so that please concentrate. Don't preoccupy with something else. Okay, so that you don't have to watch my video at all here. Okay, this is one use case. So with the advantage of what is the advantage of creating, these type of parameters? You see the use case one. In the use case one, what we can do is we can dynamically enable the report users, like managers or some users, to dynamically specify the values. In this case, the country name. But the any and query parameter enable the report users to dynamically specify any value, whereas the list of values will allow them to select only the listed country name or listed value. Okay, for this kind of situation, we can use query parameter. So that is what use case one. Apart from this, the second use case is release management. In the case of release management, also the query parameter plays an important role. Okay, so what I am going to do is, like I said, if I let you know in this, if I share this report file, how will you know what are the files that I used it here? What are the physical files? See, these are the tables. Fine. What are the files for these tables that I use? How will I check it out? How will I check it out? Click on transform, data source settings. Nobody is concentrating here, okay, except few. So this is the thing, right? Here you can go and see what are the data files that I used it in this report file. You can see the physical file. Got it? Okay. So now what happens? Like I said, in the case of QA, so these files are used by developers. This is available in development environment. But the same files are available in another folder called D:dat1, QA. File names are same, but the data are different. Got it? So those of you attend testing training, you should be knowing it, right? The test data is different from development data. Maybe some kind of overlap, okay? And what I do is here I can change the source. For example, if I share the report to the QA team, what will happen? They need to open the report and then go and select here, and then they need to go and make changes here. If they don't know Power BI tool, QA team, they know only SQL queries. They don't know, right? It is a painful. Again, they will have to call the developers. They'll have to ask their support. You need to tell them, click on this, click on this, click on this. Rather than doing this, what we are going to do is I just you can do it here itself. I will go to the Power Query editor. For example, in the case of sales W04. Okay, first I need to create the parameter here. Okay, yeah, here itself we can create it. See, I selected the file name. Where is the file name? Sales W04. Why it shows only this many number record? Oh, did I filter it here? Did I apply any filter? Where is the country column? Yeah, Estonia. Look here. I need to clear the filter here. Right now, I cleared the filter. The entire data is coming. This is very important. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to take a look at the second use case. In the case of second use cases, we are very particular about how do we change the file name and folder path dynamically. For that, also we can use a parameter. So here I don't have to use the country name, anything. Okay, simply you just select the query name, sales W04. Look here, I just selected sales W04. Okay. And then these are the steps that I applied it for this thing. And yes, first step was source, right? Next to that, you will find the wheel icon. When I click on it, here it opens. So this query, for this query, the data comes from this file. This file is available under this folder. Okay, here I hard coded it. Instead, what I do is I just, instead of typing the name, right? I did not type it, picked up, but this is kind of hard coding. What is that? Hard coding. This is not the best practice. Okay, use parameters wherever it is required so that it will be dynamic. Not only in Power BI, this is applicable in all. This is one of the best practices that you need to follow it in any programming language. Instead of using this, I click on it here, select parameter. But here, I don't have any parameter created for this. What I do is, here itself, we can create a parameter. Click on the new parameter. Here, what I do is, remember, initially I created a file path. Listen, I just say file path. Some meaningful name. Okay, this is not a reserved word. You can give whatever name that you wanted. And here, what I do is, I just say, yeah, in this case, I'm okay to give any. Now you understood, right? In the interview, they ask, when will you use any query, any parameter? So in the case of release management, we can use any, so that the users can type any for path name or any path name or file name. Okay, so they should be allowed to this one. Okay, and this is any value. Okay, type, sorry, this is a data. See, this is something confusion here. Text data type. This is your parameter, any value. Here, what I do is I just specify the current path. That's all. I created the parameter here itself. What is my parameter name? File path. Click on OK. File path. Look here. Here you have an option called this is the hard coded one. This is not the best practice. Instead, I select the parameter file path I've given. Similarly, for other files also, you can do it this way. Let's say in this report, you are using 10 files, 10 tables. Each and every table, you can give different name. Okay. Because each and every query, the table names or file names are different, isn't it? Path name may be same, but the file name is different, right? So you need to create that many number of parameters. 10 files you are using it. You need to get 10 different parameters, like file path 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. So I click on OK here. That's all. I just close and apply it. Now, I created a report. In this report, I created a parameter. I map that parameter in the source settings, the file's source setting. Now I want to test it as a developer. I want to test it. Click on edit parameters. Yeah, this is the one I already created. Let it be there. And file path. Here I just say QA folder, something like that. For example, for your sake, I create a folder by the name of QA here. Copy this And then in this dat one itself, I'm going to create a new folder called QA to give you the real-time sense, right? I just create something like this. Let's assume that this file has different data, but file name is different. Okay, this has got the QA data in it. The dat1 d:dat1 sales W04 is for development purpose. Okay. So now what they do is when the QA team, when they open your report, it will ask you the file path. Here you need to specify your QA team's data file path. That's all, guys. Click on OK here. Let's see, do we get any error? Nothing. Now my report is pointing to d:dat1 QA folder. Look here. So what did you understand from this? When you create a report, if you share it to the QA team or UAT team or release management team, they need not to be aware of where to go and specify the path name, right? So when they open the report, automatically it will display something like this. It will display something like, only thing is they need to specify the path name. If it is a UAT, they have to specify UAT path name. Easy access to QA team, very good. Not only QA team, any team, the UAT team or user experience team or release management team, even the production migration, right? They can go and specify the production path, folder path. That's all. Here only you need to specify. Otherwise, what will happen? You need to go here and you need to select data source settings and you need to manually select this and change those, right? These things and all, the release management team, they do not know. Their job is simply take this report, push it to QA or UAT or production, but they don't know where to change and all. But thing is, what they do is at the max, when they move the code from one area of development to QA, they simply, when they open the report, okay. See, in this case, I am the developer. I have to test it with edit parameter. But if I share this report to you guys, when you open it, it will ask you the path. It will not, you don't have to go and select this one. Okay. If I send it to WhatsApp to you, and when you open this report, it will prompt you. Hey, tell me the country logo. This is not required, ignore it. So let it be there. Here, file path is the parameter name. Right here, I can specify whatever the path name, the file name that I wanted, I can specify it here. I don't want to go here locally and then go and specify there. When I open the report, it will show here. I just type the path name. That's it. Click on OK. And then it will go and pick up the data from the production system or QA system or from the UAT system automatically. And then display the report accordingly. Production system, the volume of the data is very high. Hence, you will see the big numbers here in the charts or visuals. So use case one is if you wanted to restrict the users to view only the specific data, we can use the any, the query or the list of values type of parameter. The use case two is, second use case is to ease the job of, to make the release management or QA team job simpler. The release management job simpler, right? We created another parameter. We mapped that parameter at the source setting itself. So apart from this, the third use case is let's say here here I just right click on it, replace values. Click on replace values. Values to find parameter. Here also is specific parameter. Create two parameter. So when you open the report, what will happen is what values you want to find it out. The state name one Kentucky, find out the value Kentucky and replace with something else. Okay, so in that kind of situation, this is very much helpful. Supposing you have some data related issue. For example, Kentucky is there somewhere, and somewhere, the Y was not there. In that case, what you can do is you can find out Kentucky dynamically and then replace that with, Kentucky, listen, Kentucky, forget about Y. Find out wherever Kentucky is there, replace it with Kentucky. That's all. Your parameter 1 and 2 parameters you need to create it. So you can use any type of parameter, and what you need to do is just click on here, parameter. You can, so for this purpose also dynamically you can replace the values. Use case 1 is to restrict the users to view only the specific data, and from the performance point of view, instead of selecting the entire data, we are enabling the user report user to select only the subset of the data. For that purpose, use query parameter. Second use case is release management, right? To make the release management job simple, we can use the query parameter at the source system setting itself. And third one is, if you want to replace the values in any specific column dynamically, for that purpose also you can use the parameters. These are the 3 different use cases. You can use the parameters. Hope all of you are able to understand, right? You should be able to understand on the fly without watching my video, because when you talk to American during the status call, God only can understand. Fat, they tell. Forget, see, first of all, understanding the accent is, challenging. Okay, you are able to understand, but they will not explain it everything in detail. You should relate and understand. Okay, that's the reason I'm telling you guys, okay? Try to understand everything in English, because the end of the day you are working with Americans or UK English speaking people only. Okay, try to understand, watch my video more than one time, try to see again, because non-IT people need some time, but how long you need it? See, Nitesh is also non-IT, right? He's able to understand. Only thing is concentrate here. Concentration is very much important, and then practice. Fine. So we discussed about the 3 different types of parameters and the use cases. When can we use these parameters? What kind of scenarios? We discussed it. Real-time scenarios. Okay. And the next one is we'll jump into how to create, how to perform group by operation. Okay. What do you mean by group by? So how many of you are familiar with skill query? What is group by? If you wanted to group the value, the similar values in a group, right? Then we go for group by. In simple term, group by, right? Using group by, we can summarize our data. So we group the rows that have the same values. Group the rows that have the same values. Let me just see here. Where is the group by?